Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Hey everyone, Rosemarie Havsom back again to help you take full control of your life by what you choose to put at the end of your fork. So let's get into it. What is at the end of your fork? What if I told you that a lot of what you're putting into your bodies as food is actually not food? It's ultra-processed foods. We've been saying it for years. Those of us in the holistic practitioner world, we have been saying it for years. We need to get back to eating real food. And the problem with food in the United States is that it is not real food. The most part of it, of what people are consuming, is not real food. Now, President-elect Donald Trump had something to say about that, because not only did he want to make America great again, but he also wanted to make America healthy again. And that is why he appointed Robert Kennedy Jr. to lead the charge to help Americans get healthy and to get off the rat race of big pharma, big food, big insurance, medical insurance. We've seen a lot in the news about medical insurance and the problems with medical insurance. So when it comes right down to it, in the United States, you are on your own when it comes to how you're going to show up in the world and what level of health. And it starts with our food. If you're not eating the right kind of food, then you're going to have a problem with your health down the road.
This food is highly subsidized. It's corn, soy, and wheat, which means processed wheat, processed flour, processed sugar.
Kennedy believes that the American diet is rife with poisonous additives and chemicals that are making people sick and fat, and that we do well to follow Europe's example. Take the Big Mac. You assume the health values to be the same everywhere, right? Not a chance. The U.S. Big Mac has nearly 100 more calories than the U.K. Big Mac, 42% more fat, more carbs, but about half the sodium.
Let's get back to eating healthy food. Now, it sounds really simple, but we have become addicted to things that are not food. They're just components of food that appear and smell and kind of taste like food, but they're not. They are highly addicting components, chemicals, preservatives, additives, all kinds of artificial colors and flavors that are trying to fool your senses into thinking that this is food. But guess who knows that it's not food? Your gut. Your gut knows what real food is. But over time, when we've been feeding our guts ultra-processed foods, then the gut has difficulty recognizing and becoming more efficient at recognizing that that is not food. So where did this all begin? It all began in 1985. In 1985, there was a big trial that was going on regarding tobacco companies. The tobacco industry was being called out for promoting health debilitating illnesses and death, namely lung cancer. They were saying, nope, our tobacco, our cigarettes are not addicting. And so we don't know why people are falling over and dying and getting huge numbers of lung cancer. Why is that happening? We don't know, but it's not addicting. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it causes lung cancer. Well, they had to really eat their words. And now because of that trial, that infamous trial, they now have to state that not only do they acknowledge that the way that they create their cigarette products are intended to keep people addicted, as well as to give people the maximum amount of nicotine. So they were deliberately making people sick. This is not conspiracy, this is known. But what may not be known is the fact that not only were they promoting death in a box, that people were buying on their own and then becoming addicted to it and not being able to quit and then having all kinds of health issues and premature death. Even as young as babies, they had to admit, R.J. Reynolds in particular and Philip Morris, two of the huge tobacco giants, had to admit that sudden infant death syndrome is a result of secondhand smoke. I'll leave that right there for a minute. The thing that I want you to look at is the history of what happened in 1985. In 1985, the tobacco industry was about to go bankrupt, and they were not going to go down without a fight. So they decided, how can we still survive? What they came up with was buying food companies. So in 1985, R.J. Reynolds bought out Nabisco Foods for a cool $5 billion. That same year, Philip Morris decided to buy General Foods for a cool $115 billion. And then 3 years later, Philip Morris then bought Kraft Food for another $5 billion. So billions of dollars were spent in order for these big tobacco companies to buy out food companies. Now, I don't know about you, but my first question would be, what on earth do tobacco companies know about nutrition and health and the good of people, especially when they've had to admit in court that their product was actually contributing to the deaths of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Americans each year, amounting to millions over the lifetime of their product being available to consumers. What were these companies doing taking over food companies? And what ended up happening? Well, what ended up happening was that they started to use the very same marketing campaigns that they had used for their tobacco products. And they targeted children because they knew that if they could get the children, then they could get the mothers, then they could get the entire family. And what they did was they started using petroleum products, byproducts, coal tar products. Have you ever heard of yellow dye number 5? That is made from petroleum. It used to be made from coal tar, and they found that it was used to make sludge for an industrial companies to run efficiently. Then they realized that, hey, we can use the byproduct of coal tar, and instead of just using it to pave roads, we can actually use it to dye fabrics. And hey, if we can dye fabrics, then why not just dye food as well? So any of those brightly colored yellows and oranges, those are tartrazine, yellow dye number 5.
One of the things RFK talks about is make America healthy again. Basic. Removing preservatives from foods. Now I'm going to go through a bunch of these colors that, red 40, you have Swedish Fish, Kool-Aid, Red Vines. My kids are not going to be happy about that. Then you got yellow 5 and 6. This is Peeps, Jell-O, Hostess. Catastrophic, man, with Jell-O. That one, I'm still eating it. Then you got ADA. This is Jimmy Dean, Arnold Bread, Pillsbury. Then you have RBST, which is Artificial Growth Hormone, which is General Mills and Land O'Lakes. Now we have Olestra, which is Pringles and Lay's. Then we have Parabens, which is Cetaphil, Olay, and CoverGirl. And then we have Pink Slime, which is Tyson. By the way, if you were on your way to Kroger's, maybe you're going to Publix or Albertsons or Vons or whatever other place you're going, maybe there's a change of plans when you go, I can't buy this because of the video I just watched.
All of these have led to the addictive quality of ultra-processed foods. We're seeing a spike in colon cancer and in other kinds of cancers, and it is directly related to these additives that are going into the foods, and they're being marketed heavily to children, young people, young adults. And guess what? Colon cancer rates are skyrocketing, especially since people are ingesting energy drinks and artificially flavored and colored and poor nutritional level foods, quote unquote foods. We need to do better. African Americans are still at the bottom of the heap when it comes to our health and wellness, when it comes to preventable chronic illnesses. High blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and overweight and obesity are not just to be managed by big pharma medications. You can actually reverse them and treat them yourself and even avoid them just by what you choose to put at the end of your fork. It's going to be very interesting to see what Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to come up with, and it's going to be very interesting to see how he works with President-elect Donald Trump to bring this into fruition. We're not here to just be here to be worker bees. And yes, you can floss and do all of those great things and show off with how much money you're making. But if your health is not good, what is the point? Make yourself great again. African Americans, we have to take control of our health, take control of our children's health, and make sure that we leave a legacy of health. So if you have something to say about it, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And also remember, I have a YouTube channel that is Havsom, H-A-V for Victor, S-O-M for Mother, where we'll continue the conversation there. I'll see you next time. I'm Rosemarie Havsom, and to your good health. Bye.